Hi everyone, it's Isabella here and welcome back to the channel. So today's video, I've been really dying to talk about this, okay? Today's video, we're going to be talking about James Charles' new brand Painted and why I think it's a hot mess. Some things that I found on the way of researching into this company and just my overall thoughts of how problematic this company is in general, okay? So again, if you guys don't know me, hello, I talk about scams, unethical companies, and so much more shit on my channel. So if you like that, then definitely subscribe. Actually, not too long ago, I made a video quite similar talking about the downfall of Jaclyn Hill and some of her brands, which I have several videos over. Now, I really love doing dives like this because it's so fascinating. I love kind of stepping into the beauty community because there are so many goofy ass, sketchy ass companies that are in the beauty community space or by some mega beauty creators, okay? Like literally Jaclyn Hill is one of the prime examples of that. Okay? But I wanted to kind of scoot over to James Charles Painted because while digging into this company, the way I found out that the alleged factory that actually develops products has lawsuits apparently. There's some other backlash, other product issues, shipment, and so much more. So before we hop into today's video, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell button down below. My merch, second channel, podcast, TikTok, and Instagram are in the description below if you guys want to hang out with me more. And now without further ado, let's get into this shit. So first off, starting off, let's talk about what is Painted. So again, a quick backstory on James Charles. So James Charles is a beauty content creator who's been around for a very long time. He popped off kind of early near that like 2016, 2017 like makeup era that was really big with the beauty community. Anyways, he had his moments. He was like the first like cover boy. Like he had a lot of good shit popping from it, okay? He was also part of Dramageddon, if you guys don't know, where it had Jeffree Star, Tati Westbrook, and so many others essentially. And that was just a nightmare that I will never, that's literally a core memory for me at this point. Anyways, so with that though, there's also been so many controversies about James. If you guys want me to cover a deep dive on James, let me know because I would love to do that. James also has been caught allegedly talking to underage boys. Yeah, that's happened a lot actually. And I know I have to technically say allegedly for legal purposes, but in my opinion, through my own opinion, 100% that fucker did it and he needs to be in jail, in prison. Orange jumpsuit, okay? I really think you should put that one on. Anyways, that's my personal belief on it, but allegedly, as the story goes, this is what was happening, okay? So I think the biggest foundation that I want to say about James going into this, I do not comprehend why people want to purchase makeup from him because he's like genuinely a awful person. So Painted has been launched recently and James has had a very heavy hand when it comes to different products or collaborations. So this has kind of been a thing that has been coming. So for example, he partnered up with Morphe to create this like universal palette. I think I still have that thing. I bought it years ago as a teenager. Okay, my bad. But anyways, he partnered with Morphe at a very successful makeup palette and there's just many other collaborations he did. But finally, he wanted to come out with his own brand and that comes Painted. So Painted has been launched and the concept is essentially more, it has like, first of all, the first products that were released look like they're like paint tubes and they look like products that you can kind of mix and match together that are liquid, which is like fascinating and everything. And then now we finally saw that he has launched an actual palette. Now, real quickly, one of the things I want to talk about is actually the pricing of the products and what he has to offer. So actually, if I go into the website right now, you can see that the basic bundle, which is the palette and brush, is $105, which in my opinion, that is way too expensive for something like that. Again, that's just me, but for basic ass brushes and a palette like this, there is no need, okay? And also considering how many times we've seen mega beauty influencers like upcharge the out of their palettes, like Jaclyn Hill and her lipsticks, for example, which she should not be charging them. And I know a lot of brands do that, okay? I just think if you want to be different, you could find a better way of doing things, okay? I just think that's wild. But again, just me. Also, that's wild pricing for James Charles. Like, again, peace and love, but you're just starting this. You're a beauty YouTuber. You could know a thing or two, but charging that much as if you're a luxury brand is just the audacity. Now let's look at the paints. So these paints are supposed to be cream to matte paints that can be used in a million different ways throughout your makeup routine, graphic liners, cut creases, smoky eyes, or even a new lip. Just be creative. Now these can be used as shadows. You can actually mix them and customize your own foundation if you want to. Like there's many ways that people have kind of played with it. Biggest thing that I want to say from the beginning, and again, this is just the surface of this because we're going to get into like problematic issues, lawsuits, all that shit here soon. But just from my first perspective on this, it does not in any way look worth it because one, it doesn't look user friendly. Let's get that out of the way. I do not like that in any way. This is still giving like circa 2017, 2018. And when it comes to makeup and changes, like there are so many changes that people have shifted to when it comes to makeup. And I think that this is very out of touch. Like I don't think he knows he's doing, like, at all. So that's a bit problematic. And of course, there's gonna be people that still like purchase from him, like, oh, a shit ton of teenagers, you know what I mean? I get that. But when it comes to products like longevity, I don't really comprehend it to be that good because there's like, it's not innovative, right? There's so many other companies who have products similar. So it's not as if this is a brand new, like insanely cool product. This is something that has been out and is a thing that's been there for a very long time.
This whole recap is to say it's no surprise that many people feel James has missed the opportunity to launch his own beauty brand.
The thing is, like, who will buy James Charles's makeup brand? Because he had so many subscribers and so many fans that even after his scandals, and a lot of his fan base is quite young, he will still, I'm sure, sell out. But yeah. I don't know if he will be able to build a brand that has a recurring customer base.
So I don't know the hype around it. But anyways, that's what it is. Now, these paints each go for $15 per bottle, which that's not awful. I mean, that's not horrible. It kind of depends on how big they are. Let me double check. So they're 0.34 ounces. That's not bad. I just feel like you can get better from somewhere else, you know, or if anything from a company that's not run by a predator, in my opinion. Sorry. So the palette, by the way, on its own is $55, which is not, okay, like not bad. Not bad at all. But again, like to me, this looks very basic. Like if we go over it, it doesn't look revolutionary. Like actually, funny enough, pause. This looks similar to a Huda Beauty palette. Let me pop that one up over here. Maybe it's just me, but it looks really, really similar. Either way, when I think it comes to makeup, there are so many brands that are lacking in actual like uniqueness or anything. And so if I'm like, just for me looking at this from the jump, this sounds like an absolute mess. But again, that's not really exactly what we're here for. One thing I found that I thought was really fascinating that sparked this was I saw an individual by the name of Kevin Bennett, who actually is somebody who is very involved in the beauty industry and world, which there are many people that aren't like content creators that have huge hands in development, product development, who can help with maybe a celebrity or many others. Like there's just a lot of people behind the scenes who are heavily invested in this industry. And so what he actually came across, allegedly the lab that is creating the products for James Charles is like they have problems. They've had major issues here. They've had product production problems. They have been individuals who wanted to produce products like way too fast. There was actually another conversation about this exactly where James not too long ago talked about one of the painted bottles. The formulation wasn't really that good. There was something wrong. So he claimed that he was able to change the formula really quickly and then send it in and make adjustments so that way it can immediately go into production. And what Kevin said was in order to product test and make sure that a product is good for like shelf life, making sure it can ship properly, and like with all these different temperatures, you have to try out and make sure that they work. Like it's a trial period, right? And that's also why there's some PR packages, because that's additionally a part of the trial period to add to like perfecting it apparently. Now the problem with that is he sent it in too fast. There wouldn't have been enough weeks essentially before launch for it to be properly tested. So he was saying, hey, James is not doing what he's supposed to do and is shoving it out there like, oh, we fixed it, there we go, and it hasn't gone through proper testing. Now I think that's a huge problem, and in my opinion, I wouldn't be surprised if James would do that, okay? I have never gotten the vibe that he actually is doing things for the greater good of all and just wants a paycheck. To me, it's giving the similar vibes as Jaclyn Hill. Now, with this though, you would kind of expect that there would be some potential problems, and with some brands, sometimes they have issues with launch. That's kind of what you expect. Well, according to social media, the first product launch has been kind of rough. So there were many different TikToks and just posts in general, comments, you name it, that really were going on about how there were different packages that were not properly sealed, that were leaking when we got there, cracking, even really weird texture with the application and the cream-based products. There's some of the products even were like really oily and weren't mixing properly. So it's almost like you had to like rub the bottle together to get like the product mixed in, which is like, that sounds like a waste of money.
I was just getting ready to post a positive review on these. It's been 2 hours since I filmed and applied this. Look what's happening. Did I do something wrong? I mean, I'm not even like that oily. But what the heck?
Look what I got my hands on. It's James Charles' new paint line or whatever makeup brand. I got Cold Brew, I got Ink, I got Ghosted. I just realized like after I went outside that it's just really patchy and I'm not liking it. The eyeliner looks good though on this eye. It stayed pretty well. Like I'm guessing just don't touch your eyes at all while wearing this. Also, I was trying to fix it up and I realized that I have black all right here from the eyeliner. So, yeah. Okay, final thoughts. I do not like the eyeshadow paints. I really wanted to, so I'm not just being a hater. I've tried the Gwen Stefani eyeshadow paints and I loved those, so I think it's just the formula that I don't like. I had a lot of cracking and I was just pressing on it. It fell down to right here, fell down all right here. I'm sorry, I'm happy I didn't spend more money than what I did, and this probably won't get used.
And some people were even saying that some were lacking pigment. So from what I'm getting from this, and this is just my theory, okay, if you guys have any, comment them down below. My theory is he went way too ham with trying to get things out fast, and in my opinion, lazy, because he knows that there are people who will buy his shit. And honestly, he didn't give a because it's like, oh, well, damn, it's okay, no big deal. I think so, because my opinion is I would be tested out of so many different things just to double check, just to make sure. I would, oh my God, the way I would be insanely hands-on about this kind of stuff. And now here's the thing. I know accidents are gonna happen, but it's so fascinating to me how specific people who give the illusion of money hungry have a lot of ups with their products and with their launches or collaborations or whatever you want to call it. And I personally think that this is a reflection of how this individual perceives the way that they take care of their brand and everything. So I personally believe it was done very messy and was not actually tested enough and trialed enough to make sure that it was good and like good to go. Because again, like different batches can adjust, things can happen. Like you have to kind of check and make sure shit's properly being produced and all good to go. There was a bunch of claims that products were just not doing good. Now, additionally with this, okay, so going back to Kevin, right? Kevin also mentioned that he saw a video posted by James where at the very, like a certain area of it showed that there was an individual with a lab coat in the background. So like it was, you know, shots of like James in the lab, like checking shit out, no big deal, okay? But Kevin's like, pause, I see, you know, like there's a lab, like the lab that he's working with has had major issues, okay? So a bunch of other people though were doing their digging, right? Found that video and were able to see, pause, this is the brand. So he took this video down, can't confirm or deny that like he took it down for that reason, but it's very interesting when a bunch of people are saying, oh, you're working with this company that's had issues, and then all of a sudden it disappears. I think it's kind of wanting to be hidden who he's working with, but you guys want to know what I have found out. Let's start off with Prisha Cosmetics. So if you guys don't know, Prisha Cosmetics is essentially a company that helps create and manufacture makeup and everything that you could find when it comes to beauty. So me digging into this, I was like, okay, Prisha Cosmetics, let me kind of dive into them a little bit further and see if they have things like lawsuits or other problematic things going on. So Kevin actually went to say some serious allegations against James Charles through multiple Instagram posts. Benet's allegations were regarding the safety of James Charles painted products, and he warned against making purchases from the brand. It is important to note that several of the brand's products bundles are currently sold out. So at the very bottom, it says, Kevin shared on Instagram explaining a few allegedly disturbing claims made by James in a brand reveal video on YouTube. So in this video, it was essentially talking about the makeup and everything you can expect with it, and pretty much also was talking about how there was some issues apparently with one of the products. So he wanted to very quickly like send the product in for like a reformulation really at a very like pretty close to the launch date. Okay. And so Kevin was like, that is actually not normal. Benet brought up that James mentioned that he was still making changes to the formula of the product until July 29th. The makeup artist called it problematic as the changes being made required new rounds of stability testing before going into production, which in this case was impossible. Standard stability testing is typically 12 weeks, and products with SPF require a minimum of 16 weeks. In a pinch, a lab can perform fast stability, where a formula is tested under extreme conditions for only 4 to 6 weeks. Fast stability is not allowed for SPF products, he said. 2 days later, in another post, though, Benet mentioned that he knew the manufacturer of James's products and claimed that they were well known for their products and having quality control issues and product contamination issues, which this is almost giving flashbacks to Jaclyn Hill and her lipstick scenario. He revealed who the manufacturer was as he shared screenshots of one of James Charles' TikTok videos where their name Prisha Cosmetics was visible on employee lab coats. Another post, he stated that the manufacturer had multiple lawsuits against them, all on public domain, which absolutely is so true. So I actually looked up and I saw 2 of them. So there's one that was pulled against them by an individual by the name of Linda Soto. Now, originally one with Gerard Cosmetics, it looks like the company was trying to sue Gerard, which was really fascinating. Another individual by the name of Linda Soto actually filed a lawsuit against Prisha Cosmetics for allegedly something involving other labor laws, which sounds very problematic. What's next is like some of this information I can't find yet, so I'm gonna honestly have to dig into it a little further. But I do find some that are getting constantly pulled up for Prisha. But again, if no one knows the name of the actual factory, then like no one knows what to look up. Now, honestly, this is really not surprising to me because we look at the way that James behaves with so many things, okay? And then this brand, it looks like it's very sloppy and he doesn't give a shit. Then continuing on, Benet put out another Instagram post and reminded people about James Charles' previous underage sexual solicitation allegations. Benet stated that by buying his product, people showed that they were comfortable supporting predatory behavior. On August 8, Benet claimed that James and his manufacturer Prisha Cosmetics breached FDA regulations by creating cosmetic products with colorants that were not approved by the FDA for use around the eyes. He doubled down on the accusations by stating that the website also offered instructions on how to use those products as an eyeshadow. There is no disclaimer on the painted website to alert consumers that these products are not safe to use around the eyes. Instead, they feature 2 images on unapproved colorants used around the eyes, which, yeah, that's a big problem. Like, if you aren't going to be doing proper due diligence or disclaimers, that's an issue. I think everything absolutely needs to have proper disclaimers. I think it's messy if you don't. Like, this might sound very extra of me, but if I talk about like a supplement or something, I don't give a shit. No bad things can ever happen with it. I'm just like, what if you're the person that it might go bad with? Like, I don't really give a if it works for me. Double check with your doctor. Like, anyone who's responsible should be trying their absolute best and due diligence to be like, hey, look, this is what we have. It works really well, but just in case, here's a great disclaimer just to make it very obvious so you know what you're getting into if you try a product. If someone wants to try a product, that's perfectly fine. And if it's good for the majority of people, then fine. Now, again, there was additional screenshots that were showing how there was certain ingredients there that could be a problem. And again, like, honestly, I know there's certain ingredients or dyes or things that are fine. It could just like literally stain your eyes and everything. But if something is super duper unsafe, then yes, that needs to be taken care of. One other thing I wanted to bring up before we kind of wrap this up is there was another thing that I noticed James posting up on a live stream that really rubbed me the wrong way. There was a conversation about his previous palette and the Morphe palette that he made, which is, I'll pop up the photo right over here. So he's discussing one time in another video or situation that how he just doesn't like the palette just sucked, which honestly to me threw me off because I'm like, wait, pause. You made stupid money off that palette. First of all, you said it was the best thing ever. It was revolutionary, and now it's just shit. And then a bunch of people are like, what the fuck is your problem? And then he's like, well, people are just taking this out of context. Like, I just don't really like it anymore. And don't get me wrong, I know that people can grow and change, and trust me, half the shit I used to do with the content, I'm like, I could have done better, right? Absolutely. Like, if it's not your cup of tea anymore, that's one thing, but just saying it's shit in general is kind of fascinating to me because if you want to talk about how high quality is, right, and everything, like, there was no clarification. The quality was amazing and all of this stuff was so good. It's just, it's not my concept that I would want to go for with a palette. It just sounds so weird. In my opinion, it sounds like he's saying, well, I mean, I made money off of it one time and I liked it one time, but like, I don't really care. I think it's so odd to have that conversation and act as if it's just shit now. You know what I mean? Because it sounds like you promoted and loved shit because you wanted to get a paycheck. You see what I'm saying? And so now other people are even like, okay, well, this new palette he's launching, is that shit too? Is he going to be like, that's stupid and not even worth your time anymore? Like, and I know everyone has a right to change their mind, but I feel like if anything, that whole concept of like a rainbow palette that can offer so much to everyone, like, I completely get that. I think that's a really cool concept and it worked really well. I know I loved it a lot back in the day when I used it. It just felt like so disrespectful. Like, that was trash. I'm like, well, a lot of people put their hard-earned money into that. And like, if you thought it was trash and the quality wasn't good, then why the fuck were you selling it anyways?
2017 Morphe palette called the 39...
Dare to Create.
How did you remember that?
That's
a good memory.
Elephant, dude.
Okay, but I think enough time has passed now where we can comfortably say that palette was idiot. But I will say that was like my first time working with Morphe, and I think they wanted to put me to the test to see if I was good to collaborate with, and that is the shoot that then got me my James Charles palette. So it was ugly, but I am grateful. Yes, blessing in disguise.
I think it's honestly very problematic, the fact that we're even having this conversation about a brand anyways, because already I'm seeing people roll in with the bad reviews about this company in general and how messy it is. And honestly, it's also very interesting seeing certain people promote the products that are very close with James. I think that's very ironic. So additionally, one thing I want to say is I did look into the lawsuits involving this. So here's the problem. Some of the lawsuits that I did look into, I couldn't find enough evidence or information around them. Like, a lot of it was like locked up. I have found claims filed against Prisha Cosmetics. I have heard of many other allegations. I've even heard Prisha Cosmetics being involved with Jaclyn Hill in some way, which I will pop up more proof over here if I'm finding that. I'm just saying, I do not think that this company is at all properly tested. I personally think a lot of these individuals, like Jaclyn Hill, for example, will claim, I've tested, I've worked on this for so long, and they didn't. Like, I know there's going to be issues no matter what, but after a while, it suddenly comes out that, wow, there wasn't that much effort being put in. Wow, this person just lazily found a manufacturer and said, that'll work, and just made something happen with a pretty branding and called it a day, you know? And at the end of the day, also, I just think him as an individual is just someone I would never support. Like, we literally have far too many amazing companies out there that we can purchase from and buy from that have really good affordable products that are not James's. And again, from him being an alleged predator, from him honestly launching some of the most basic shit I've seen, to already having issues when it comes to rolling in reviews, having some interesting pricing, and allegedly using a manufacturer that has the worst history. In my opinion, this is something I would 100% avoid with everything in me. So that was it for today's video. Let me know if you guys find anything else new or interesting that pops up randomly about this, because I would love to dig into it further. And if there's anything else fascinating about this, I absolutely gotta cover it in another video. But that was it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.